Welcome to the Rise to Shine podcast with Noelle Custis, where we ignite the spark to discover your favorite self. It is time to get real, ladies. Hello, and welcome to the Rise to Shine podcast. I'm your host, Noelle Custis, and today's conversation is going to hit home for so many women, especially if you've ever struggled with burnout, low energy, or feeling disconnected from your body. My guest is Dr. Marie Livesey, a board-certified family medicine physician, Navy veteran, and founder of Lively Holistic Health. She's also a metabolic health expert and weight loss coach who helps women create a sustainable lifestyle rooted in self-compassion so they can finally feel energized and confident and feel like themselves again. And after years of practicing medicine and serving as a Navy physician, Dr. Marie saw a pattern in her patients and colleagues. They were burned out. They were overwhelmed and struggling with their weight, not because they lacked the discipline, but because they lacked support and self-compassion. So now she is helping women find the freedom and the balance and all of that vitality from the inside out. And I got to meet her in a coaching program, and I instantly fell in love with her heart for helping women rise into their healthiest, most vibrant selves. And that's why I know that today you're just going to love this conversation and the way that she blends science and mindset and compassion and all the things that she teaches. It just really is such a delight. So welcome, my friend. I'm so glad you're here with us today.
Thank you so much, Noelle, and for that wonderful intro. That was so kind of you. And I'm so happy to be here on your podcast today.
Oh, so excited. And I know we want to jump right in because there's so much to talk about, and I am so fascinated by your story. So I just want to start with that just because I do feel like it is, it just feels inspiring to me. So can you just take us back a bit and share what led you into family medicine and kind of just how your unique journey as a woman serving as a Navy physician, and then I think it was a Navy physician, right? And
Yes,
running
yes.
your own holistic practice, and
hmm
how that inspired you to create what you have today.
Absolutely. So, going back, my journey to become a family medicine physician, I thought that when I was in medical school, I was like, I wanted to do something flashy. I wanted to be a dermatologist or a radiologist because let's be honest, they make a lot of money. Not that we go into medicine to make a lot of money, but then I realized A, I didn't like those things, and
Mm,
B, that I truly had a servant heart and that God wrote on my heart to care for others and improve their lives, and that was truly why I was placed here. So he had a really interesting way of showing me that as well. I was in my third year of medical school and I was rotating with this family medicine physician. I'll never forget him, Dr. Punswick. We were in Kansas City, outside of the city, and he is a Catholic physician and he truly embodies what it means to be a Catholic physician. And he practiced full scope family medicine. So before we
mm.
would get to clinic in the morning, we would go to the hospital. We would see patients of his that were admitted. We would go to clinic. Well, we would actually, if it was a holy day of obligation, we went to church and then we went to clinic. And
Right.
then if, he had a patient who was delivering that week, we would go back to the hospital to deliver and then come back and see the rest of his clinic. And the thing that really stuck out to me and that I loved was watching him care for people from the time they entered this world and up until the time that they left this world.
That's so
And the impact that he was truly able to make on their lives
cool.
was something that stuck with me. And
Mm,
that was early on in my third year of medical school,
mm.
but I circled back. We had more than one family medicine rotation, and I was like, well, this is absolutely what I'm going to do and what God has planned for me. So
Wow.
that's how, like, yeah.
I love that. What a neat story. And I love that, you mentioned, it was like watching him from the beginning of life and going through all of life's journey. I just
Mhm.
think that's such a beautiful reminder. And I do love that, and this is what I love about you is that you're always so real and honest. And the fact that you were like, yeah, I was going in to make some money. And these were the things that I thought I was going to do, maybe because they felt more glam or whatever.
Mhm.
But then realizing, like, I don't love that. I don't want
No.
that.
Like dermatology residency is
Ugh.
literally 4 years of studying freaking rashes.
Yeah, no, see, and
No.
it's dermatology in itself, I gotta tell you, like, I am like, the people who decide we're gonna go there, God bless them. Because I honestly, I mean, and I know any medicine, and I will say this to any doctor, anybody that is in the wellness field, especially when we're, dealing with blood and inside fluids and all of the things, I just, it's a calling in my heart. I believe it is truly a calling. And just, I am so grateful for those of you that say yes to this because obviously it's something that we need and it's important. And I go, oh my gosh, I could never do it. I mean, I laugh when people go, oh my gosh, I could never be a teacher. I go, oh, that's easy compared to what you.
My patients who are teachers come in and I'm like, God bless you. I could not.
Isn't that so funny? And we're saying the same right back at you. We're going, thank
Yes.
God you do this. I spend one like quick little moment in an urgent care or, at the hospital, and I am like, okay, I'm done. Get me out of here. But no, it's such a beautiful story, and I love that. And, just making the decision to move forward for that. And one of the things that I love that you talk about because, obviously it is an audience of women for the most part out here.
Mhm.
And you do talk about how so many women that you have worked with have felt burned out. They're
Mhm.
feeling disconnected from themselves. And I would love for you to just talk about what are some of the common patterns or some of the struggles that you're seeing in women today.
Honestly, the most common thing that I see in women today is just not making time for themselves and not taking care of themselves
Mm.
and feeling like they have to. And I underline that with have to because that's words out of everybody's mouth come
Mm.
last, that their health has to come last. Well, I'll get to my mammogram if I get to it this year because I've already knocked these other two things off and I have to take care of everybody else in my house.
Oh gosh, why did that? This is just hitting in my gut right now. I'm just gonna tell you. And I know it will hit with so many other women because I am talking about this all of the time. And I always say that I
Hmm.
talk about it and I bring it forward because I'm literally talking to myself because this
Absolutely.
is me, right?
Yes. I've just been like getting over something the last few weeks and it took everything in me just to walk over to the urgent care in my own building and get seen because I'm like, oh, I'm fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. And so, I mean, when we're talking about self-care and we're really, going to that space of women, because I always say self-care is not just going and getting a mani-pedi and taking a couple of hours for yourself because I think we really do get confused with that. Is that part of it? Yes, taking a breather, taking a pause, all of that is. But it goes so much deeper than that. And you are so right about even just the mammogram. I am sitting in that right now. I need to make my appointment. I think my year was up last month and I got the reminder and I go, okay, I got to do that. I got to do that. And sometimes I wonder, is it because we will make excuses about everything else and we are, get ourselves masked in all of this busyness? Or
Hmm.
is it because we are kind of afraid to go there and really take care of ourselves because, do we want those real answers? Or even just going to exercise or taking that walk, I go, is it because it? is it really because we don't have the time, or is it because it's hard, or it's just not what we love to do? I mean, I always have all these questions trying to figure it out because there is something that creates this wall for women
Hmm.
that we have
Absolutely.
such a struggle with just like crossing over. What do you think that is about? What are your thoughts around that?
I you hit the nail on the head. It's that I truly think it's like if we don't love it, if it's not something that we truly love that lights us on fire, it's
Mhm.
something that we avoid. I think that especially, headed into midlife, women have this change of identity because they're now wives, whether they're and mothers, whether it's in the early phase of motherhood or the later phase of motherhood, and their kids are leaving their home. There's this identity shift. So a lot of women don't even know what they like. So there's that layer of it. And then the
Yeah.
third is, I really think there is fear. The fear
Uh,
is real. There's safety in the unknown
Mm,
for a
that's
lot of women.
true. So true. And my husband said something to me the other day, actually. I mean, we were literally sitting at lunch together, and he is very much, health and wellness is a massive part of his life. It is his lifestyle. And
Hmm.
we were having a really big discussion about this because again, everything I'm saying to you is a mirror of me, and really, trying to dive deeper into what my thought process is, what my mindset is around it. And he flat out just says to me, he goes, "It's not a priority for you." And I was like, well, but yes, like I want it to be, and I was really, I had to sit with that for a second because he goes, "Okay, so if this, X, Y, and Z happened, what would you do right now today? Would you go do it?" And I was like, "Yes, of course, because that's a priority." And he
Hmm.
goes, "It's not until it becomes an emergency of like being completely burned out or a health scare happening that you finally decide, oh, it's a priority now. So what can
Exactly.
we do before we hit that?" space. And that's what I love that you're doing is I feel like you're like reaching those women, especially midlife moms, midlife women that, are in our, like you said, our identities change a little bit when we get into our 40s, and you start to address some of that. So what are some of the, I don't know, maybe some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from your seasons of burnout or transition as you were redefining what health looks like for you?
So, biggest lessons are A, don't wait till you're absolutely sick to take care of yourself. Another really big lesson from transitions and periods of burnout are honestly having to advocate for yourself and it being really scary. It reminds me of when I was in residency and I was struggling with very severe depression, and I um I asked for help and I got help
Yeah.
from a fellow resident. They put me on medication. They took care of me. They were an upper class resident. And then I went to, because I was on, when it was like really, really bad, I was on my inpatient rotation. So I was at work at 5 o'clock in the morning, leaving my
Mhm.
house at 4:30 because I lived a half hour from the hospital. And then
Right.
I was at the hospital till at least 7 o'clock every single night.
Mm.
And I was told during that period of time, and maybe it was on me, I don't know, but I was told that going to therapy once every 4 weeks was appropriate, was enough.
Mm.
When I asked for time off to leave early at the last appointment of the day, go to like a 4 o'clock therapy appointment, I was told that once a month was by other healthcare professionals.
Wow, interesting.
So for me, the biggest lesson is learning to speak up, learning to advocate for yourself.
Mhm.
And I really think communication. We are so I don't know if afraid is the right word as
Mhm.
women, but there's this hesitancy to communicate where we truly are.
Mm.
And I don't know if it comes from a place of like fearing rejection or or where it comes from, but
Mhm.
not being able to clearly communicate exactly where you are and
Mhm.
that what is your need.
Yeah. And this is what I love. This is why I love your work and what it is you're doing because it's more than just going to the doctor's office. It's more than just, seeing you. I mean, obviously that is important because this is where, certain things happen. But I love that you are also, in addition to that, you are also
Mhm.
coaching women. You
Yes.
are helping women on such a different level. It actually gives me the chills because that is what I felt like I couldn't find for so long. And I was so frustrated going to doctors. And like you said, there was this fear. I didn't even know what to say or where to start. They would, you go in, you feel like you're just a number sometimes,
And it's a quiz. Like,
right.
what
And
brings you in
it's,
today?
yeah, exactly. And then you're going, uh, well, can I give you the list of all the things? Because by the time I get here, it's not just one thing. It's not
Yes.
just one thing
That is
anymore.
so common. That is
Yes.
so common.
And then you feel intimidated and you feel like almost like a shame. You feel this shame as a woman going, okay, I should have done this. I should have taken care of myself. Now it's so much bigger that what am I going to actually just hone in on? So this
Hmm.
is what I love is that you have gotten to a place where you're like, okay, I'm noticing this in my practice. I'm noticing this with my colleagues. And now I'm going to take my work and I'm going to start to coach women and I'm going to start to help and kind of, I don't want to say, I know it sounds so cliche to say like niche down, but you've really started to focus in on what you were noticing were the biggest patterns and
Hmm.
issues. And I just feel like, one of the things that you talk about is how stress, and
Hmm.
burnout affects our metabolism. It affects our hormones. So let's get into that a little bit because like I said, you focus on that, you focus on weight loss, and I think these are two big things, three big things that people and women are just it's like we're just grasping for what do I listen to? Where do I go? There's so much information out there. So what are some maybe just some let's I'm going to have you talk about it. I'm going to open it up to you because I could go a million different directions in this, but really talking about how stress and burnout affects our metabolism and our hormones.
Okay, we can start there, and
Let's start there and then let's just go big.
and then we can go big. I feel like
Go
maybe
deep.
we'll need carry on episode.
We
I
might
don't
have to
know,
have
part
a
two.
session two here.
Because I could go many directions with this
Yes.
too. So I would say, so your question of stress and burnout, how they impact your hormones, and that is a really great question. And I think a lot of people, most people, both men and women, they do not realize how big of an impact it has.
Mm,
So to make it very simple, when we are stressed out, the hormone that we've all heard of called cortisol. So I'll step back even further for a
yeah.
second. So the reason that this is all so intertwined is because it's not just your female hormones or the male hormones or weight loss. It's all a part of this much deeper complex system called the neuroendocrine system. So it
Mm,
starts in our brain. We have endocrine organs in our brain here, and then it affects our entire body. And it's all of these hormones, how they're made, feedback in very complex ways to each other.
mhm,
So the a simple one, the cortisol that we all hear about and everybody wants to say like do this, cortisol is a problem, or this is the problem, right? But the cortisol, when your cortisol gets higher, there's some things that it does to your body um, that can have a detrimental impact on it. So the first thing that it's going to do is cortisol actually is going to make your body less sensitive to insulin. So say you go to have breakfast and you're going to have something, a nice balanced meal with protein, carbs, fiber, right? And you're also in a state of high stress. Say you're getting up at 4:30 in the morning because you have an hour and a half commute, or you have to do your side hustle before your kids get up, before you put them on the bus. before you go to your full-time job.
Mhm.
Whatever that looks like for you, you have high stress. So your cortisol levels are high. So your body can't respond to its glucose load, that sugar that you're taking in, the carbs that become sugar normally. So what
Mhm.
happens? Your body has to then compensate somehow. So it's going to create more insulin. And every time our body pushes out more and more insulin, that eventually downstream, and please keep in mind this is super, super watered down.
Right,
Um,
right. This is
but
why they're going to be following you because I know you get into this. This is so good.
downstream
Yes.
um, is is then you retain fat. You retain fat. You store fat.
Yeah.
Other what it does to some of our other hormones, when we are stressed, it makes it so that the some of your other hormones can't stimulate appropriately, and
Mhm.
it's going to look different in different women. So for some women they'll see an estrogen dominance, in other women we're going to see an estrogen deficit. It's really going to depend on where you began, how stress is going to impact your individual hormones and your neuroendocrine system.
Yeah. And this is where I go again, this is why it's so important because I think we're as a whole, as a collective of women, I think we're realizing now that this is why traditional diets or those quick fixes might work like well first of all those quick fixes aren't working, we do know that we're figuring this out very quickly, how but I'm also seeing that a certain plan for one person might not be the exact plan for somebody else. And that's what I love too is that you're specializing in this because you're looking at us women not as a number, but as a human, that we all have a system that's maybe working differently. And, I appreciate that because once I started figuring out that there were actually people and doctors out there and people that practice functional medicine, whatever the case is, you're like, oh, thank goodness. You're like an answer to prayer because it can be so frustrating as women when you're doing what everybody tells you to do and you're watching the trends and doing this, and we've gone through so much of that. I mean, don't even get me started with like the GLP-1s because I know you've even said, hey, it's not to say that these don't work, but there's it's not just one answer. There's so
Exactly.
many things to look at.
There's so
And
many pieces to the puzzle.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I love that that you're doing is that you're looking at all of those pieces and you're going, okay, this is where we can start figuring out that plan and what's really going on. And then bringing kind of, just bringing that science because you need that, but then
Hmm.
also bringing that compassion piece. I mean, the two of those mixed together in itself, that's what I'm talking about as far as being an answer to prayer because there is so much shame in this process, especially when it comes to weight and body image and all of the things. And then add midlife to that. And it literally threw me for a loop. I was going, what is happening? What is going on? And I know that you talk about the self compassion piece as being a key part of all of this.
Hmm.
Why is that such an important piece of the puzzle? And how can women start, maybe start practicing some of that in their daily lives?
It's truly a key piece of the puzzle because we can't hate ourselves into changing. And I know that sounds so cliche, but if if you don't love yourself where you are right now, you're never going to be able to do the things and stay with those things that are going to get you where you want to go. If you hate your body and yourself and you feel guilt and that shame, and to tell you and everybody listening, like if these are feelings that you have, at least once a day in clinic, I see 16 to 18 patients a day. I have a woman at least once a day breaking down crying who is in midlife, crying over her hormones and her weight.
I was that girl, like not at your practice. I didn't know you then, but I went to my doctor and I was that girl 3 years ago. I was 40. What was I? 48, something like that, 48, 47. And oh my gosh, I was that girl. I was that patient. For sure.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is finding somebody who truly listens to you
Mhm.
is the most important. If you feel like you're going to your doctor and they're blowing you off, I two things I always think about and like to remind people about because there's a lot of hate on Western medicine that hurts my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, is
Yes, I agree with you.
is that the system is not designed, the system of healthcare right now is not designed to help you get better. The system is in a place where we're encouraging people to stay sick. And
Yeah.
that's not the doctor's fault. On
Mhm.
average, they have 13 to 16 minutes per patient if you're seeing an FP.
Right.
Um, and that's not something that they want. That's because they're working for this company and they're saying
Yeah.
that this is how many patients they need to see per day to hit this salary. And then the majority of doctors are not like myself. The majority of doctors have loans from medical school because they didn't go through a program, didn't have the privilege
Mhm.
of going through a program to
Such a good
get it
point.
taken care of.
Yeah.
So doctors a lot of times don't even like they don't have a choice or you can go out on your own, but it's still scary and not guaranteed compared to working for a practice where you're going to make X per year. You know that your loan payment that's equivalent to a mortgage payment, you'll at least be able to afford it.
Mhm.
Um, it's really hard out there. So I think
Yeah.
remembering that your doctor is not your enemy, and just because you meet one bad one doesn't mean there aren't others out there who are incredible and want to help you.
Yeah.
That's the first piece. And I would say the second piece is really remembering too that your doctor can't do it all for you. And
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
it's not their job to do it all for you.
Yeah.
Their job is to present the evidence, give their expert opinion, and then help you make an informed decision on what you want to do with your health. And
Mhm.
then you have a lot of work to do outside of the office.
Yeah.
I have the privilege of being able to see my weight loss patients in my clinic once a month, which is still not enough time.
Right.
Um, But that's where that finding somebody else outside comes in. Finding
Yeah.
somebody who can walk alongside you, whether it's your weight loss, your hormones, your metabolism, or even just you're like, I'm a midlife woman. I haven't taken care of myself, and I really need somebody to coach me through getting
Mhm.
healthier.
So good. So good. I love that because I mean, this is where again, I cannot sing these praises enough because it has been life changing in my own life to find those doctors, to find I actually we have a practice here that, I recommend to everybody because I go as a woman in midlife, they take the time with you. But I love that you said this is where it's so powerful that you had said it's also not their job to fix everything. And that we have to maybe look at outside resources and we have to look at all of our options of how are we going to take control. They can tell us all day long what to do, but it's really a matter of if we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that coaching piece around it. So for me, weight loss hormones that has been a bigger issue for me, and that has been something that I feel like I hear a lot of women talking about because we go through so many changes in this time of life. And so this is where I say, this was why I was so excited to have you on, because it's so nice to have an expert that comes on and just just really it's like confirmation that we're going, okay, yes, even a doctor feels this way, it's not just us. They're feeling it
No.
too. And we're getting that inside scoop from you as an expert, going, yes, this is confirmation that, there's more to it than just a doctor visit. There is more
Mhm.
to that. And I love that. And one of the things that I love, and again, I always refer back to your Instagram. If you're not following her, you have to be. We'll get that at the end, but so you can start following her. But I love that you are always just putting out really great little, like, just sustainable habits, little things that you do. And I always love that you talk about it in, this is not to shame you. This is not to, this is to be helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
coming, you always come from such a place of love. You really do. And it really, this is again why I love your account. And, but what are some of those just sustainable, maybe some of those small things women can begin to do to boost some of that maybe energy or confidence to move forward? Because you have to have a little bit of that.
Absolutely. And know all your praises mean the absolute world. You are a true gem.
Oh, thank you.
You are wonderful, my friend.
Thank you.
And I'm going to tie, I think the confidence in for sure, because I realized I didn't fully answer your last question. Um,
It's okay. I'm asking
so,
a lot. I'm all over the place because there's so
and
many thoughts.
so I would say small practices, the first one, especially for confidence, is you you have to get into the habit of looking at yourself and not hating yourself.
Hmm.
And and that's really hard. So finding something every day that you can look at your body and let it be a physical thing because we have to love this vessel. And if you don't have a physical thing, start with something non-physical, whether it's the way you care about people, the way that,
Hmm.
you're able to brighten someone's day and pause and once a day find at least one thing about yourself that you are thankful for.
So good.
And as cheesy as it is, it allows us to, over time, realize that, oh, wow, I am really amazing. And I do deserve the love that A, other people are always trying to give me, and B, the love and care that I should be giving myself.
Mm. You're gonna make me
So,
cry.
oh,
This is just touching me in such a big way because it's so true. And we just don't like to necessarily hear that.
no. And it's really hard to love yourself. It doesn't matter what you look like. I,
Hmm.
I think that we all come from really complex, you don't know from looking at somebody from the outside the complex history that
Yeah.
they're from.
Hmm.
And I think that learning to love yourself is really a step in, and this is like totally unrelated, but like a step in making the world better too. Because how
Yes.
can you love other people and be the best mom, be the best wife, spouse,
Yeah.
if you don't love yourself first?
Hmm.
And that's like where the real work begins.
Hmm.
Some other small things that I truly have my patients dive into and my clients, a lot of them where I live, they have a really long commute every day. So they're like, hey, Dr. Livesey, like I can't realistically exercise during the week. And I say, well, thank you. I appreciate your honesty because I
Hmm.
don't ever want to be suggesting things to people that aren't going to work for the life that they're living, whether it's by choice,
Yeah.
because of survival, whatever the case is. So I
Right.
think it's A, looking at what is your schedule like?
Hmm.
And okay, two big things that are going to move the needle for energy is going to be the food that you're putting into your body and
Hmm.
moving it. So in your schedule, is there a place where you can get 10 minutes of morning sunshine? Not everybody can get that. Not
Right.
everybody can get outside at 7 in the morning and take a 10-minute walk because they're already in the office. I'm one of those people most days.
Yeah.
I get my walks on the weekend. So
Uh,
maybe for you, that's your Saturday morning, you get out and walk for an hour or 45 minutes, or you're just starting and you want to do 10 minutes because that's what feels good now.
yeah.
That makes a huge difference over time. One of my patients, went from, she was very adamant on not starting medication for her diabetes.
Hmm.
Super adamant. She is this very Italian woman. So she's also like, I'm not going to stop eating pasta, Dr. Livesey, or bread or bagels. It's just not happening.
Right.
Okay, ma'am, I'm just telling you, like, these are my recommendations. Just so you know, I'm putting in your chart that I told you the risks of untreated diabetes, that we
Yeah.
should start medication. However, you know, she started walking. All she did was add a mile a day to her schedule. She just started walking 1 mile every day. comes back in 3 months. And she took her hemoglobin A1C. So for those who don't know, anything over 6.5 is diabetes. So
Uh-huh.
she was at 6 point, no, she was at 7.2. She took her A1C from 7.2 to 6.6 in 3 months by walking 1 mile every day.
Wow. See, so she can still, this is where that we can live in a little bit more harmony, where it's like, yes, you can still have that pasta, but she decided, okay, but in order to do that, I have to walk and I have to be active and do something to move my body in order to get those levels down. And that's where it's the sustainability, right? So it's not just a quick fix, it becomes something. And again, going back to the conversation that my husband and I had, we giggle because he is in amazing shape. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, you know how insurance for life insurance, they come and they do a blood test, and
Hmm.
he ended up in the top 1%. And the guy was like, listen, this does not happen often, especially at your age. He's, in his mid
Get
50s.
a 30-year policy now.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty much the thing, right? He was like, do this right now. But we laughed because compared to me, like my husband eats, he's got a sweet tooth. It is the joke of the family, but he says, I do, and that's probably not going to go away. And he's gotten a lot better about making sure that he's eating things, with not all the sugar, but he still likes to indulge every once in a while. But he also knows that that requires a lifestyle of being active and a
Mhm.
lifestyle of, for him, he loves to work out and he loves to move his body. And if he doesn't, he feels the difference. And I think that's what it is like that's what we were talking about. It's that sustainability. And I think you even said it at the beginning where you said you have to find the things that you also love to do. And
Yes.
you never are there forcing people to go do something that they hate because there is something for you. You may not love to go to the gym and lift weights, but there's other things you can do to make sure that there's weights involved, that there is like some of that weight resistance. You can do other things. And that's what I love is that you're always just on top of those things to empower women as opposed to like sinking us into the shame.
Because the shame, it truly doesn't work, right?
It
Like
doesn't. It
the
does
the
not
only
work.
people shame works for is like guys in the military because they're like that's what they respond to. But
Totally.
otherwise, it does not work. It
Yes,
doesn't.
exactly. No, it is so true. I come from a military family and most of the men all were in the military, so I totally get that.
And they
And
respond to shame, I'm sure.
And yes, absolutely, absolutely. The one thing my brother does assure me of, because he was in the military for like 25 years, and he does assure me, he's like, listen, he goes, if I see, because I'm like, what do you think of like, someone like me? I'm like struggling in the gym. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm overweight, like, all the things that we used to talk about this back in the day. And he was like, listen, I always am proud of women that I see that are even trying, that are even just showing up. He's like, that to me is the biggest win. And that you said yes to yourself today. And I was like, oh, that has always stuck with me is that if I ever feel insecure walking in somewhere, feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing or whatever, it's just like going, you know what? Somebody's looking at me going, good for her. She said yes to herself today.
She's showing up for herself today. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that self love, right? That's that
Hmm.
loving ourselves enough to even say yes to ourselves. Because, man, it's so much easier to bury ourselves in all the other things that we love. And, like, and again, it goes, oh gosh, anyways, we're going to have a part two, my friend. We're
We
going to
will.
have a part two. I can already feel it because there's so many things I want to chat with you about.
But it does. It goes deeper. It goes into
Yeah.
loving yourself enough to show up for yourself. And if you think about it, one of the things that really, as you were talking, that came to my mind was like, I don't have kids, but I have plenty of friends who have kids at this point in my
Yeah.
life. And no one's kids do the things that are good for them because they enjoy them, right?
Mm.
So you want your
Good
kid to
point.
eat vegetables. You want your kid to have less screen time. You want them to brush their teeth, to take a shower, to go to bed on time, to wear their helmets, to wear their seat
Ah,
belts. to not drink, to make other safe choices. Those aren't easy for kids.
Right.
The easier choice is to mom have candy. Mom not
Yeah.
make me eat what's on my plate. Mom make a fifth dinner because the first three things that she made was I didn't want. And now I'm
Right.
still gonna go to the closet and get cookies and she's gonna let me. That's the easy part. The
Yeah.
hard part is a parent, right? Is to tell them what's good for them. They don't
Right.
naturally do that. So then we step into adulthood and I don't know, we just like wonder why it's so hard. Well, it's so
Yeah.
hard because there's nobody telling it. We have to be, you have to then you have to parent yourself. You have to be that for yourself. It doesn't mean that you necessarily hate exercising or hate going to bed on time or you're a bad person because you want to stay up and watch Bravo TV all night.
Yeah.
But
Totally
guilty.
true. No, this is why. Do you guys see why I love her? She's so great. You are so great. And I love these analogies. And man, they just hit at a different level because you go, oh my gosh, I never even thought about it that way. I love that. And, like I said, I think that there is definitely room for more conversation. I would really love to have another segment on this where we can dive in even deeper because I think there's so much to be said around this. And I think that this is such a relevant and important topic in the world today. And, anyways, I just appreciate you so much. And I know I want to get into our spark and spill, but what I'd really love to know before we wrap up and get into that, what is one wellness ritual or a daily practice that's a non-negotiable for you?
For me, it's washing my face every night before I go to bed at the
Okay.
same time. It's my non-negotiable. What it doesn't matter how gross I feel, how sick I feel, how tired I am going to double cleanse my face every single night before I climb into bed.
And tell me, could you tell us why? Like why that's so important to you?
For me, it's two things. It's A,
Okay.
like the little bit of vanity. I want to have good skin.
Yep.
And
Fair.
B, this second part is that like for me, that's my signal to my body that it's time to wind
Ooh,
down, stop, and get ready for sleep.
so
S-
good.
So it's that twofold. It's that
Yep.
signal at a transition point in the day.
I love that. I love that. It kind of like it's that rhythm. There's something about a rhythm and just having that start and stop and, being able to tell your body, like, okay, this is what
Mhm.
we're doing next. This is what's happening next. I love that. So good. So good. Thank you so much. And I know I went all over the place in that one,
I
but
think we both did.
oh, I love it. But it's just all such great information. And I would definitely, this is one of my favorite parts of the show because we get to go from those deeper conversations to something fun and get a little bit of the personality to shine through even more. So, this is a little segment we do called Spark and Spill. And it really is just, we don't want you to think about it too long. It's just whatever comes to the top of your mind. And we just ask a few little questions. Are you willing to play with me today, my friend?
Let's play.
All right. Okay. So the first question I should say 99% of the time I always ask is coffee, tea, or something else. What's your daily must have for a little energy boost?
Coffee.
Coffee. Nice. What's a song that instantly lifts your mood or gets you moving?
Opalite.
Say that again.
Tease. Opalite. Taylor
Oh,
Swift.
of course. Of course. So you are a Swiftie.
Yes.
I love it. We got lots of Swifties out there. Okay, next one, book or podcast recommendation?
1000% your podcast.
Stop. You're so sweet. No one said that. No one has said that, but
No,
I so appreciate you for
I,
saying.
I listen to your pod when I'm like, oh, I just need some uplifting.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much. Well, this is how I feel about you. I just feel like you are just like this ray of sunshine and breath of fresh air. And I really, honestly, and this is totally off topic, but I'm just going to throw this in here. I was deciding, podcast day when I'm recording, I have to change, every time I go on to record. And it was so funny because I was like, oh, what am I going to wear for this one? And I literally picked this bright yellow blouse because I was like, she's just like a ray of sunshine to me. And this is why I wore this
Aw.
blouse today.
You are so sweet.
Oh, it is 100% true. Okay, so finally, last question. What's lighting you up the most in this current season of life?
What's lighting me up most is the training that I'm doing on menopause. So, really diving deep into evidence based medicine on helping women further in the menopause transition
So
is
good.
super lighting me up right now.
That is awesome. So tell us about that. Is that a program that you're doing? What is that about?
Yeah, so I actually this last week the I did it virtually, but the Menopause Society, it's really incredible. They have a lot of resources for women too who are not in the healthcare profession, so check them out. It's the Menopause Society.
Okay.
But I did their annual conference virtually, so got continuing ed by sitting through was it like 20 plus hours of lectures.
Wow.
And in June next year, they actually have the Menopause Society practitioner certification, something like that. I forget what they call it, but I'm
Okay.
going to get that as well. So I have their certificate to be a certified menopause practitioner, so that I also have that seal to further help my patients and that education to really help people.
Ah, so good. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for just sharing your wisdom and your heart and just a refreshing perspective on health and self-compassion. I know that so many women are listening and walking away feeling hopeful and just reminded that change doesn't have to come from pressure, but it can really come from a place of love and support. So, for anyone who wants to learn more or connect with you, where can they find you online or where can they find you?
Absolutely. So I am most active on my Instagram. That's Dr. M. Livesey. I know she's going to link that. I'm following Noelle, so you can find me there.
Yes.
Um, and then I do have a website as well. It's livelyholistichealth.com. Right now, the forward facing offers are weight loss, but there are, if you message me and there's something specific you need support on that you don't see, please still message me because I do have a lot of offerings for people.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. And to everyone tuning in, if this conversation spoke to you, please share it with another woman who might need a little encouragement today, because I know this is top of mind for so many of us. And of course, every time you do that, it helps more women to rise and to shine and to also find their spark. So thank you for spending time with us today. And as always, keep rising, keep shining, and know that your best day is right here waiting for you. And thank you again. We'll see you in part two, girl.
I can't wait.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining me here today. Your presence means the world to me. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider leaving a rating and review, and don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Head to the show notes and let's connect. Rise to Shine Co. is ready to support you in coaching, collaboration, life tips, or even a coffee chat. Until next time, keep shining, my friends.